Ever wish you could squeeze more time into sewing while you're just waiting around? I've had to be a lot more creative on the go recently, and I've learned a few tips and tricks that help me stay creative even when I can't be sitting in front of my lovely sewing machine. Hey friends, welcome back to my sewing room. My name is Becca, and in today's video, I am sharing some of my favorite ways to keep the creativity flowing even when I'm not in my sewing room. We're going to talk about portable projects, travel-friendly tools, digital creativity, but even the most important part of all of this, your mindset. So let's dive in. One of the best ways to stay creative on the go is to have projects organized and at the ready. Now, this does mean you're going to have a little bit of prep work at home, but trust me, it is worth it in the long run. For me, I like to keep lunch trays with all of my projects laid out. That way, when I'm heading out, I just grab what I need. For English paper piecing, I keep everything in my Atlas pouch from Center Street Quilts. I actually modified this pouch to make it for my iPad, but I've learned that it is better as my hexie folder. When I made it a little bit bigger than the largest size in the pattern. I added a couple inches to the top and to the width of it, so the length and the width, so that it would accommodate my iPad Pro, but the large version would have worked just fine. Remember, a pattern is only a starting off point. There are 3 pockets inside of the Center Street Quilts Atlas pouch that I love. The pocket on the left is the full height of the Atlas pouch, and so that keeps all of my pre-basted EPP pieces that I need to sew together. The 2 pockets on the right are for thread and notions. The top vinyl pocket, I put all of my different spools of thread in there, so I have them there and ready to go. And then that bottom fabric pocket I use to put all of my notions in. I actually do have the palettes from Sew Tights, and those are tucked in behind the projects vinyl pocket on the left. And then on the right, that little slip pocket that's behind my notions, as I finish a piece of EPP, I open it up and I put it in that little slip pocket so that when I get back home, I can put it on the tray behind me with all of its little buddies. Cross stitch and embroidery, however, are a little bit of a different beast. The notions are pretty much the same, but the thread is different. Because you need to make sure you have certain colors of thread, I like to break my cross stitch and embroidery projects down by individual projects. Now, right now, full disclosure, I have not done that. I have all of my cross stitch patterns and embroidery patterns, I think, in this one project bag that I love that I got from one of the quilt shops I visited in Huntsville, Alabama. I love this bag, but I only have one of them. I have found these other bags. I've used them in the past and I've gifted them away, and now I wished I would not have. I love these other small project bags that you can get from Fat Quarter Shop, and they come in 3 different sizes and a variety of colors. And the weave of the fabric, it's almost like a canvas material, but there's big holes in them, so you could cross stitch or do some needlework on the bag itself. My goal is to get some of those bags and break it up so that I can put my pattern and all of the threads that are required, plus my fabric and my hoop and my notions, in each one of those, so that when I want to work on a cross stitch project or an embroidery project, I just pick up the bag for that project and I'm off and on my way. These are small enough that they can fit down inside my backpack when I'm commuting to and from work. They can fit in my purse, or they could even just hang out in the glove compartment of my car if hey, that's actually not a bad idea. Honestly, I recommend breaking them down from the start if you can get away with it, because I feel like I don't even know what cross stitch projects and embroidery projects I have right now, because they're all combined into that one bag. And to start a project, I'm going to have to break that out and build a kit. There are low or no cost options to breaking those projects out into little bags. You don't have to use those fancy project bags. You can use some Ziploc bags, or if you have the materials laying around your sewing room, you can make your own project bag. To make these projects work on the go, tools matter. Notions are key to everything here, and I'm going to walk you through some of my favorite notions for EPP and or cross stitch or embroidery. My first notion is my needle threader. I use the Bowen needle threader, and it is my must-have. I've tried the clover one and it's great for bigger needles like cross stitch or embroidery, but EPP, it ain't cutting it. When you're threading those fine milliner's needles for EPP, it can be a little finicky. I found a lot of times I would put the needle into the needle threader, floss the thread into the little slot, and press the button, and the needle would not be threaded. And I do that repetitively and nothing. Sometimes when I switched out needles, the first few times I threaded that needle, it was okay, but usually after a day's worth of threading the needle had plenty of life left in it, but I couldn't get it threaded with the clover needle threader. So I switched to the Bowen one. What I like about the Bowen needle threader is it has two little slots for you to thread your needles. The one on the left side is for bigger needles, so you could use this for your cross stitch, your embroidery, or even just regular hand sewing or quilting. The one on the right, however, is game changer for EPP. It handles really fine needles. I like to use a milliner's size 10 or size 9, and I have not had a problem using 100 weight thread and threading those needles, and it catches it just about every time. Snips are important too, and you probably want to make sure there's snips, especially if you're planning to take your project on a plane. I love my easy snips. I've been using them so much that it honestly just feels awkward to go back to traditional snips. With regular scissors, you have to pick them up, you have to slide your fingers in, open, cut, but with easy snips, you just pick them up, put them where you want to make the snip, and you squeeze. Done. It feels like it is so much faster, and realistically, I'm probably only shaving off a second or so, but every second matters, right? These are super portable and very easy to use. I'm keeping one in my Atlas pouch for my EPP. I keep one at my sewing machine for all of my regular piecing. I keep a pair in my featherweight case. And I'm seriously considering investing in a few pair to keep for my cross stitch project bags. Because I feel like if I could put all of the notions in every single bag, that would be even more portable. Now, I do want to mention TSA here because I talked about flying. If you're flying, make sure your scissors or your snips meet TSA's standards for your carry-on luggage. I don't know what it is. I think it is less than 4 inches from the tip of the blade to the hinge part, but I am not a TSA authority, so your best bet is to check their website before you fly to see what they say. I know I have flown with embroidery snips and easy snips and never had a problem. But if you're worried that your expensive snips might be taken away from you, just put them in your checked luggage. Thread is also needed, obviously, for your projects. In the world of embroidery and cross stitch, you'll want to just grab the thread colors that your pattern, your project is going to require. You don't need to carry every single spool of every single color. I did that for a while and it was a bit messy and a bit clunky. So I pared down to just keeping a little pouch with the spools of thread that I need. Now, if a color that you have only one spool of is needed for multiple projects, you could just pull off a length from that floss or that spool to put in each project bag. Just make sure you use a bobbin or some sort of piece of washi tape or paper to label what that color is so you know. EPP is a different story. A little bit of thread goes a long way in the world of EPP. I personally carry around spools of 100 weight thread because the only place I'm going to use 100 weight thread is in EPP. I bought a little pack of assorted colors. I think there are 5 assorted colors in this box from my local quilt shop. This is Wonderfil 100 weight thread. I believe it is a polyester. It is called Invisifil, and I'll link to it in the description box down below. This is what I use for all of my EPP, but a lot of folks use 80 weight Deco Bob, which is a little bit thicker and a little bit easier to see and might be a bit stronger. I haven't put them both to the test. Either one is perfectly fine, and because so little thread, I should say, does so much of your project, you probably only need a bobbin of each color or so, which makes EPP even more portable. I will tell you, if you're going to go the bobbin route, I love the little bobbin boats that you can buy at quilt shops. You can stack up all of your colors of thread in bobbins, even if they're all the same color, it doesn't matter. And you can just put that little bobbin boat down inside of your bag. It keeps your threads tidy, it keeps your bobbins organized, and it keeps them from spilling out all over the place. Last thing that I like to have for my on-the-go tools are piece holders, and this is probably more for EPP than anything else. Wonder clips work great, but my go-to has been sew tights. If you don't know what sew tights are, they're these little magnetic system that you have a magnet and a bar that goes with each piece. You take them, slide them apart so that you end up having two pieces, and you put the magnet on one side and the bar attachment on the other side. And it's designed to hold fabric or pieces together when you can't baste or pin or maybe even clip. These are great. And if you pair them with the Sew Tights pallets for EPP, you can do flat back stitching a bit better on the go than just holding it and being a bit finicky. Recently, I've been using a lot of my commute into work when I have to go into DC to work on sewing. Who doesn't love sitting on a train and sewing to your heart's content over fighting in traffic? I'll take that train ride any day of the week. I've also discovered that EPP in other areas can be fun as well. For example, I ride in the car more than I drive when I go with my husband, and I'm doing a lot of EPP in the passenger seat. When I'm grabbing coffee and catching up with friends, this is a wonderful toy that allows me to be productive and gives my hands something to fidget with so I can focus on the conversation with them. I have some travel for work coming up, and you can believe that I'll be bringing some EPP with me because I'll be able to work on that in the hotel room in the evenings. But I'm really excited about December. Mary and I are spending 9 days at Disney World together. No husbands, no children, just the two of us taking on all of Disney World. And you better believe we have carved out some time in each park to sit and slow stitch and just take in the atmosphere. I love it. Sometimes being creative on the go doesn't even mean sewing. It means thinking about your sewing or planning it. And for that purpose, I find digital tools are perfect. There are 3 tools that I like to use to keep my ideas flowing. The first one is GoodNotes or just the straight up notes app on your phone. This can be used for jotting down notes, keeping track of project details, taking photos, or maybe even just sketching out something very roughly that you want to do. If you're really into drawing or you're thinking about how you want to quilt something or you want to draw out a quilt idea that you have in your head, Procreate is a little bit better for that, but it is a bit more advanced. I'm not sure I know how to use all of Procreate, but I do have it installed and I'll use it when I'm just fooling around and trying to draw something. Both of those apps are great, but I'll be honest with you, the one that I use 99% of the time is Procreate. Procreate is a website that you can use to draw out your quilt blocks by building out quilt shapes. And then you can plop them into your quilt, you can customize the color, you can rotate them, you can resize the blocks, you can do all of the things to get an idea for how your quilt is going to look. And you can even upload images of your fabric to see what your fabric will look like in that quilt. Procreate's great, and it is a web-based tool that you can use on your computer, so Mac or Windows, totally fine. You can use it on your phone, but it's not that great. I would recommend using it on a tablet. I use it on Safari on my iPad all the time, and I have no issues. Highly, highly recommend. The only drawback to Pre-Quilt, maybe I was saying Procreate, but I meant Pre-Quilt. The only drawback to Pre-Quilt is it is a subscription service, but it is affordable. It's $100 for a full year subscription. Definitely worth the investment. I think they might have a free plan as well, but there are some limitations to it. Don't quote me on that though. I also keep all of my PDF patterns in Google Drive so that I can access them from my phone, my iPad, or any computer anywhere. This is wonderful because it allows me to pull up those instructions when I'm on the go and I don't have to worry about carrying around a piece of paper. Although, if you are a note taker, you can write notes on that PDF in GoodNotes if you want to mark up the pattern. You can even save a copy of it so you can do that. But if you are more a pen and paper person, you can totally print it off, make your notes, and then discard that pattern when you're done. And next time you want to work from the pattern, you have a fresh, clean PDF that you can print off and get started with. The last tool that I use for being digital on the go is actually my camera. This is something that all of you probably already know about, but for those of you that don't, let me tell you how this is so important. If you're ever out and about and you see something you think, wow, that would make a great quilt, or wow, I'd love to do an embroidery of that, or a cross stitch, or whatever the case may be, snap a photo of it. That'll help you remember what that project was. And then when you have more time to sit down and really think about that project, you've got a visual reference to work from. Camera is lovely. It takes up no extra room because it's already on your phone and you just snap the pictures as you go. The biggest thing that I've learned is you don't need your whole sewing room to be creative. Even a few stitches, a couple of notes jotted down, or a few pictures snapped in the wild count. And honestly, there is just something about slowing down and noticing the colors and shapes around you. Inspiration is everywhere. You just have to catch it. So that is what has been working for me. Organizing projects and having them ready to go, using the right travel tools, making the most of commute or travel time, and leaning on those digital tools when I can. I'd love to know about you. What do you find helpful to keep you creative on the go? Do you have a favorite project or travel tool that just is game changer? Leave it in the comments down below. And if you like this video or you got a tip or a trick from it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you create something beautiful and I'll see you in the next video.